All right, so should I go first or should you go first?
It's your show. You go ahead.
Okay, just going to start with a little bit about ourselves. My name is Blake. Um, I am about to be 23 years old. I live in the American South. Um, it's really hot down here and it sucks, and I really want to get the hell out of this place. Couple of my interests, I like firearms, do a bit of reading. Just moved out to a more rural place, so I'm trying to go outside more because it's real pretty out here. Um, Currently finishing my bachelor's degree in biology. And let's see, anything else? I mean, I could give my address and medical history, but oh yeah, that's right. Yes, so my social is 592. uh, yeah. You can go ahead now.
Okay. Well, despite my picture, I am not a 15-year-old. There's that joke about guys take one good picture of themselves and use it for the rest of their lives. I guess I've met that. Uh, I am 24. I'm also in the American South. I have my bachelor's degree in organismal biology. Working on my master's presently. I have a YouTube channel, which is my name, Jackson Wheat, where I talk about concepts in zoology and evolutionary biology, and just kind of hanging out, vibing. How are you today, Blake? Did you have
Chilling.
a good day?
Yeah, I was fine. It is this is let's see, May 8th,
Yes.
2022. So it is Mother's Day. So I started off my day with helping my mother as much as I could with getting things ready for a big dinner she had planned. I sadly couldn't make it to it because I had to work, but things went by pretty fine at work, and there was some pretty decent leftovers. She boiled a bunch of shrimp. Um, but yeah, it's been going all right. Going all right. Can't complain.
Well, good.
It's getting warmer outside, which I do not appreciate because my body handles body heat like a 40-year-old woman going through a thyroid issue. Um,
Jesus. Well,
I mean, it's true.
you brought me on today to talk about some different issues. So, you ready to dive right into those?
Sure, just take your pick for one.
All right. Well, I guess we'll start just chronologically in the order these have arrived in my messages. So, Ukraine's foreign minister calls on the world to support the establishment of a special tribunal council for the crime of aggression against Ukraine. So,
Right.
what are your
So
thoughts on that?
I interpreted that as like he's basically trying to like preemptively set up like a sort of like a miniature little second Nuremberg trial for the people responsible for this because honestly I can't really tell which way it's going at this point. I just the information on it is so mixed from what I hear. But I mean I don't think that that's a bad idea. I mean he could certainly have said something more controversial. I mean none of the politicians over there are happy. They a lot of them wanted to and got the hell out of there.
Right. Yeah. From what I have seen, it seems like as Russia pulls out of different cities, they are leaving behind mountains of bodies. Uh, and so you're right. It's not a bad idea. It's certainly not crazy by any means. And I think you're right. While there is most certainly propaganda on both sides, it seems that it does seem that Russia's invasion is a crime of aggression, and that they have committed an obscene number of war crimes at this point. Although any number of war crimes is obscene unless it's zero. So, I think you're right
Yeah,
on that.
you can't really pull off like half a war crime. It's like
An
you
attempted war
can't really.
crime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think I mean it's funny you mentioned them leaving behind bodies, which is terrible. So I guess it's not really that funny. But they're also leaving behind a bunch of equipment. Like
Hmm.
the Ukrainian military has more tanks now than it did at the beginning of the war because they keep capturing Russian ones.
Right, and of course they're getting tanks from NATO allies like the U.S., Germany, the U.K.,
True.
and other countries.
Yeah,
Right,
because we keep shipping them like SAMs and like javelins like crazy which literally one of those well placed will take out one Russian tank and or a helicopter, and they're just absolutely wreaking havoc.
right. Yeah, they certainly don't need all the help they can get. I have not been paying as close attention with the maps and what's happening, but um,
It's
it's
hard, dude. It's hard to track a war zone and put it on a map. I mean,
you know.
it's I don't know how they managed to do it during wartime. And it's funny because I actually talked with someone earlier today who is a friend of mine who I know from back in high school. She was an exchange student, and she is from Moldova.
Hmm.
Which is in Eastern Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she's currently going to school in Paris, though, and it's weird because she'd had a lot of interesting opinions on Russia in the past. Because as for people that don't know, Moldova is a historical region in
Hmm.
what used to be or was a part of Romania for the longest time. And within that offshoot, there is another offshoot called Transnistria, which wants to become its own country. It's in the very east. Transnistria is almost like a country-long buffer zone in between Moldova and Ukraine.
Hmm.
It's been that way since it broke up in the early '90s with the dissolution of the Soviet Union, and I think there's a lot of ethnic Russians there
There are,
because
yeah.
yeah, so because they use the Russian ruble. Everyone there is super loyal to Putin. Like whenever she was over here, and she was talking about like, why does everyone hate Putin over here? I was like, and then I realized where she was from. I was like, oh, she doesn't. She gets a whole different view, like whole different media than we do. And I asked her what she thought about, like, well, I asked her if she was safe and everything because things are it's getting kind of heavy over there. And so I asked her, I was like, so what do you think about all this? And well, I actually haven't received a response yet. I don't know what time it is over there. It's probably like really early in the morning, if I had to
Hmm.
guess.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is still a Ukraine after this, because let's be real. Unless there is a diplomatic solution, it's just going to be a war of attrition with Russia ultimately winning. But and if that would happen, I really wouldn't be surprised if they again try to have some sort of single unified land all the way to Transnistria. Would you?
No, because they've already been doing a pretty good job with taking the south,
Hmm. Right.
which is unfortunate because Russia is getting what it's always wanted for hundreds of years, which is a damn seaport.
Right. Yeah. But
I mean,
I think the maps are difficult to follow, like where the battle's happening and stuff, and it seems from what I had heard last, Russia was preparing an all-out um, assault in the east of Ukraine. Have there been any um, changes from that, or is that still really the situation?
it's about same. I mean, I don't even think they really care about the East anymore. They just really want Kiev.
Hmm. Okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Kiev, because apparently Kiev is the Russian way to pronounce it, but Kiev is how Ukrainians pronounce it,
Ah, gotcha.
which I wasn't aware of. Like whenever they started reporting on it, and they started saying all these reporters started saying Kiev. I'm like, what the? Stop! I'm like, what are you doing? I didn't know if that was some weird like. I didn't know where they picked it up from, but apparently, yeah, that's the way they pronounce it in Ukraine.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I saw that the guy Bono, the lead singer, did a concert in a metro station, like in a subway.
hmm.
Yeah, it's weird the amount of celebrities that have been going over there. Like
Yep.
I remember like Louis C.K. did a stand up special there, like literally like the day before Kiev got attacked, and there's a YouTuber I follow who travels across Eastern Europe, and he was like I think he's still in Kiev right now, or actually no, I think he left a couple weeks ago, but he was like sending like live footage of Kiev, and he was he was like, "Hey guys, just want you to know I'm doing all right." He's this British dude. Um, yeah, shout out to Bald and Bankrupt on YouTube. He's makes some pretty cool videos, talking to old Slavic people and buying vodka and stuff like that.
The life, huh?
But yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That reminds me of another YouTuber who tragically passed away a couple months ago. At this point, his name was Apetor, or Apetor. He was this Norwegian guy who he was like in his like 50s, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
and his main thing on his channel was skinny dipping in his underwear in frozen Norwegian lakes
Yikes.
and drinking obscene amounts of liquor and just being out in the cold and doing crazy stuff like that. And every year on his birthday, he'd upload a video saying, "I'm still alive. I'm 56 today." And literally, he posted one of those videos, and then not like 3 days later, he died while skinny dipping, drowning in a frozen Norwegian lake.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was really sad. I like pour one out for my man because he was really funny. He had this thing he'd do where he'd take a swig from a big bottle of booze and he'd go, I'd like click his tongue a little bit, and then go. Ah. It's tragic.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say on this one, or are you ready to move to the next clip?
Yeah. Yeah, we can go to the next one.
Okay.
Also, I just wanted to say, we don't have to always do politics and stuff like that in news. This is just like our dry run for the first
Yeah.
one, so like a pilot. I mean, I'd like to be a bit more comedic and uplifting, but we are recording this at nighttime, so I might be a little bit tired and low energy.
Oh, poor baby. My
Listen, I'm an old
I
man.
do a show on Thursday, and it's relatively high energy. So,
Where at, or like at what time?
7 it goes to about 9.
Okay.
Um, so second story you pulled is Russia said to pull troops from Syria to bolster forces in Ukraine.
Yeah, that one got to me because I was just like, wow. So I don't know what that says about how they feel like they're doing with the conflict, but like if they're drawing out of Syria, which to be honest, I don't know why they were even there in the first place, but they
Oil,
they're
probably.
well, yeah. Do we even need to assume anything else at this point with most wars, like
Especially in the Middle East.
especially in the Middle East? Well, Ukraine has a lot of oil too. Ukraine is one of they have a lot of raw materials and agriculture.
Yeah, the there's going to be a, the fact that Ukraine is a breadbasket for so many countries is going to play out very interestingly later this year. So
Yep, a lot of sunflowers, a lot of wheat.
yeah,
Yeah, over in Eastern Europe, they instead of with like like canola oil or like uh olive oil, they use sunflower seed oil a lot, which I hadn't ever seen before until I went to this multicultural market, and I've been looking for it forever, but they didn't have any of that at like World Market or anything like that. So I
really.
was just like, I saw it and I like instinctively bought it because I was like, I got to know what this is like. And it tastes pretty good, like in food. Like it has a little bit of a sunflower taste to it, which I love.
Okay. Um. So if they're
But
pulling
yeah,
troops from Syria, does that mean perhaps that they are not doing that the Russians are not doing well in Ukraine? They're having to pull reinforcements from other rather distant fronts.
yeah. I mean, that's what they did in the First World War. Whenever Russia basically pulled out of the war because of their revolution, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, we can't
Right.
keep this organized. Everyone's coming home. After that happened, is when the Western Front started to actually move a lot, and so it was I think it was like 7 divisions. However, it's however many letters are in the word Michael. So yeah, 7, and So they called them the Michael battalions because the letter designations for all their names on the Eastern Front spelled out Michael.
Mm.
So all those guys went to the Western Front, and so it got pretty crazy again over there. I
Hmm.
was talking with a kid at work today who was I don't know. You know, kids do this thing sometimes where they see you explaining something and being like the smart one, and they try to outdo you, and it's like, or they try to act like they're some kind of tour guide, and I'm just like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, listen, you are 8 years old, you ain't shit. Shut up.
I don't
Where are
know.
your parents? Why did they leave you here with me?
I I don't know. I was always just like, yeah, you're right, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Then I just kind of let.
You see, at first I was annoyed, but then we uh we we somehow came to the topic of history and wars and stuff, and we actually started like having like a decent, cool conversation. Because
Hmm.
how did it start? Oh yeah, because we got on the topic of mutation, and I was in nature, and I was talking about yeah, well, there's mutants out there everywhere. It's just they aren't like the type you see in movies. He was like, yeah, but like out in Chernobyl, I'm just like, yeah, they got some crazy
Oh yeah,
animals out
like
there.
the
They got like
radiotrophic
frog.
fungi.
Yeah, well, I mean, and like the large animals too. Like they got like frogs with a bunch of different legs. They got moose with five or deer with five antlers. Like, oof.
Okay, we'll talk about that afterwards. Okay, is there anything else we want to say on this topic? Because I can just snip that part. So, is there anything we want
Y-
to say on this topic before moving to the next?
Um, nah. We can move on to the next one.
Okay. All right. Death penalty for abortions becomes pivotal issue in GOP runoff in Texas.
Yeah, Texas is one of those places where they're starting to just like clap back really hard with pushing like anti-abortion legislation or just ideas in general.
Yeah, I tweeted a little while ago that if Roe fails, we're going to be theocracy speedrunning in the South.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um,
Because then they're gonna try to push back against marriage equality and
mhm.
then who knows what else.
I've already seen people float um, that idea. Um, I've already seen, was it Tennessee? I think wants to ban contraceptives except as prescription for married couples.
Yeah, I've heard a couple states trying to do that, which I don't understand. Well, actually, no, I do understand it now, but
You're just
it's
gonna
ridiculous.
hurt the industries in your own states. I mean,
True.
obviously that's like the least important reason, but but that is if you're a conservative and you care about money and taxes and all that sort of stuff, then shouldn't that be something at the forefront of your mind? But obviously that's less important than the other things, which is that um, this is this is going to be one of the most like big government pushes I think that we've seen for conservatives in our lifetime because we're both 23, 24.
Hmm.
And what the historically the idea is that it's Democrats who want the big government to regulate things and pass laws that are sort of like top down, whereas conservatives want these sort of bottom up laws where it's like the states
Right.
are deciding, but they don't want the states to decide. They want to ban these things. They want to ban contraceptives and ban abortion in its totality. They don't want to just limit them for personal use or even for like states choosing. Because what if Florida, which is a swing state, what if Florida votes on this, the populace votes, and they don't vote, say, to ban abortion, right? Well, doesn't that mean they shouldn't then because that's what the people voted for? Well, no, we should still ban abortion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's they want an authoritarian government. They want a government that does the most, but they want
Yeah, for the people that claim to be the party that's all about freedom and stuff, they sure are pretty damn restrictive on things.
right. Um, Yeah, it's
I just hate how just so freaking polarized things have become. Because 5, 10 years ago, uh, some Republicans would be of the position they're like, all right, no abortions except for certain exceptions, and now they're on the road to, yeah, we don't care if you miscarried or if you got raped by your uncle or something like that. You have to carry the baby to term and give birth to it, otherwise you are. I saw one state wanted to make it to where not only is it illegal to abort your baby, but then the mother is then sent to jail
can be
and
criminally charged.
sent to
Yes.
prison. Yes, and also one state was even saying about giving them the death penalty.
Yeah, Texas and Florida have both floated legislation to that effect, and I think maybe Georgia. But the
Good old
so
Georgia.
I would contend that we are not more polarized; that we are equally as polarized as we have been in the past 5 to 10 years. The difference is the crazies on either side, and I don't want to either sides this. It's we're really talking about the crazies on the conservative side here. I mean, what are the crazy liberals saying? Get more abortions? I mean, um, the conservatives are the ones that are the issue here. So the ones who are far right are having their voices projected more easily. Now, they were
Yes.
there. They've always been there. This has always been about restricting rights for women and LGBT people and racial minorities, etc. But their voices kind of got drowned out for a while, I would say, because you can't really put that in a big you can't put that on like Fox News or CNN because you have to reach a
Right.
wide audience. But now that we have social media and YouTube and all these things, which again, I'm not saying those are bad things. I'm just saying because we have these platforms which allow for everyone to get their opinion out there, hence here the two of us are,
Right.
they have it's much easier for them to project their crazy opinions out there. It's my thought anyway.
Right. Yeah. So it's not exactly that the some of these opinions are new. It's just that the people that feel this way have been given a metaphorical megaphone,
Mm-hmm.
so their voices are louder now because it's more easy for them to be heard.
Yeah, I do have to say, my family is predominantly conservative, and if there were any part of me that like wanted to sort of join them along the same party lines, I can't with my own sense of morality and my own understanding of science, and I think this goes for you too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't, in good faith or good conscience, vote Republican like ever. I mean, the things that
Unless there's like another like party switch that happens within our lifetime, which
right,
that would be crazy.
right, yeah, no, that would be absolutely bonkers. But yeah, the okay, what are the things that like Republicans stand for, quote quote, in theory, right? Like privatization of different industries and businesses, and
Traditional family values.
well, I mean, yeah, but I was thinking like economic in terms of like economics, right? Like privatization of businesses and like lower taxes, right?
Yeah, smaller government, lower
Right.
taxes.
If a privately owned business can run, I don't know, say the mass transit system more efficiently and effectively than the government can, great. Okay, that's fine. And also want to add that like your average person isn't screwed over by it. Like if that's the case, then great. I don't care. It's not a problem. If you want to lower taxes because say we're already pulling in enough taxes, and we can already pay for essentially everything and accomplish all the needs of the city or the state or whatever, and we have like a surplus of funds basically. Do we really need to tax everybody at this higher rate? Can we lower taxes? Well, okay, sure. If that's the case, fine. I don't have an issue with that either, right? Like these aren't the issues I'm having. The issues are uh, restricting women's rights, passing laws that negatively impact LGBT people and racial minorities. These are the things that these are bad things, like right, or at least from the
Yeah.
perspective is if you care about these groups and you care about their well-being, these are laws that negatively impact them, and I could never join a party that does that. So,
Yeah, my mom explained it to me this way whenever I was young because I'd see it on TV like like what is a Democrat, what is a Republican, because I was
mm-hmm.
curious about it. Anytime I'd hear about news, and I wanted to be not necessarily informed, I just wanted to know what grown ups were talking about, and so. I remember I asked her, I was like, "So what's the difference?" And she dumbed it down for me because I was probably like in elementary school, and she put it in a very basic way. She said, Um, Democrats are their positions come from a bit more place of understanding and compassion and equality,
Mm.
whereas Republicans see things in a more uh, keeping things the way they are, and or if not, going back to the way things were.
Right, to make
And
America great again.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and I found that's pretty true. Like I feel like a lot of you know uh, liberal opinions or uh, opinions come from a place of equality and understanding, or at least in the beginning, in good faith, they try to, or that's where they try to make it come from, such as racial equality, sexual equality,
mm.
um, uh, personal, bodily rights, protecting the environment, caring for the planet, and
Right.
all that good feel good stuff. And then you have the Republicans where I feel like in their heart of hearts, some of their stuff is they actually do have good intentions, but their forcefulness and pushiness with it and their method they go about with it and talking about it comes across in a very not pleasant way. For example, the talking point of they just want nice nuclear families, where everyone serves their role, everyone makes good money, and the kids are taught traditional family values and stuff like that. Everyone goes to church on Sunday.
Mm.
Taxes are low and your lawn is green. Like basically, they just want it to be the '50s again. But
Well, the '50s for white Americans.
for white Americans,
Yeah,
yes.
I.
So
Yeah,
but
you're right.
it then whenever it gets to, oh well, what if my neighbor isn't Christian? Well, I'm going to badger them because I feel like I have their best interest in mind. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I want to save their immortal soul and all that. And it's like, so that's a good intentions, but when it comes to the point where you start to avoid your neighbor, or you start to ostracize them, or you stop waving back to them and stuff like that, and then um, they they do encounter someone like in the modern world where they've say they have successfully indoctrinated their children in a certain way. Well, maybe your daughter's best friend turns out to be gay,
Mm-hmm.
and or black, or just some minority,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids are brought up to dislike certain people because of the values of their parents. It rubs off on them.
Right.
So, or vice versa. The kids aren't indoctrinated, and they have the rebellion response.
Mm.
They maybe the parents had certain bad experiences with individuals like this, but they bring one of them to their house, and they'll put on this fake niceness for the time being, and then after they leave and they shut the door, they immediately harangue their child. Don't ever bring someone like that over here again. Stuff like that, and
Yeah,
it's just it's really sad.
I've been in positions like that. Well, I've been on the opposite end of those where the person who had invited me was kind of harassed into not inviting me back. And so you're right. It's terrible, and I think you really did hit the nail on the head with this. Isn't out of they're not doing this because they're like cynical and just want to screw with people. They're doing this because they sincerely believe this is the right way, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason it's called like that. It's Christian nationalism because this nationalism and ultimately authoritarianism flows from the ideology of like Christianity is inherently absolutely true, and we need to pass it to others so that they can also, bathe in the glory right?
Right.
Um, and they believe that, and that's the problem is they believe it because in large part it's either not true, at least to some extent, and it also impacts other people. Like you can't just pretend that being gay isn't a thing, right? People are going to be gay. They're just going to live miserable lives if they're not allowed to express who they really are. Um, or the other aspects of that are things like obviously like teaching creationism and intelligent design in schools and trying to argue that like, oh, evolution's not true. It's just the secularists trying to push that on our kids when it is, and the Earth is billions of years old, and we know it is because we use those ideas to like find oil and things like that. You can't find oil if the Earth is 10,000 years old. But it
True.
also pushes on other things like climate change. Also, if people who are creationist and conservative, well, they're more than likely going to be opposed to the idea that anthropogenic climate change exists and affects the planet, um,
Right.
which is
Very well said.
tragic.
Very well said. Unless you have anything else to say, we can move on to
Sure.
next point.
Putin, just like in 1945, victory will be ours.
And it's oh yeah, I believe that is a quote by Putin because today is Victory in Europe Day.
Ah, okay.
77th anniversary of the ending of World War II in Europe. So the Russians plant the Soviet flag on the Reichstag,
Hmm.
and the Americans meet them there a couple days later because they're over a river somewhere in central Germany.
Yeah.
Yep, and I actually in my foreign language class in high school, the teacher spoke. She also taught German, and so she'd been to Germany plenty of times. She was European, so she had some stuff around the classroom, and I, I saw the girl next to me playing with this little like pin she found in a basket behind her, and I was like, and she was just kind of toying around with it, and it was a it was like a pin that you get for like going to the Reichstag. Like it had the Reichstag on it,
Hmm.
and and like I was like, you see, the only time I'd heard about the Reichstag or what it even was in relation to the end of World War II. So I didn't know. I thought it was some like old like pin or something like that. It turns out it's still a governmental building, and you can go there today,
Hmm.
which I was unaware of at the time because I was like 14.
It's like a
And so
parliamentary building or something, isn't it?
yeah, something along those lines. Um, and so I was like, be careful with that. And she was like, what? Just a thing. I was like, no, you don't know how old it is. It could be valuable. And she was like, all right, I'll put it back. Uh, but yeah, did you ever play Call of Duty World at War?
Um, is that the newest one that just came out?
No, that's the one from like shoot, like 2008 or something like
Wait, I
that. Like
think where you play like different characters, and one of them is a Russian, and you fight in the Reichstag, right? And you actually end up
yes,
planting the flag at the top. Yeah, I played that game. Yeah.
yes, that
Yes, it is the lower
that
house of, or sorry, yeah, it's a historic building in Berlin which houses the Bundestag, the lower house of Germany's parliament. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry,
hmm,
but yeah, I remember that game. Remember like one of the dudes had a journal or something, and he kept writing in it, and the guy who's your commanding officer is like, "Stop writing! No one will ever read that." But then
yes,
and then
and
he gets shot, and then at the end of that mission, he's like, "We must make sure the world knows what he wrote." You know.
yeah, and it's funny because actually, depending on so like at some point in that mission, it like reads you an excerpt from his diary,
Mm.
and depending on situations where you can kill surrendered German soldiers, he says different things about you. Like if I think it's like if you do kill the Germans whenever they're surrendering, then he'll say like you were savage and ruthless. But if you don't, he'll say something like if you or like I don't know, he was he was right and just and never did wrong, stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that game had such a good like theme song for the Russians, that like choir that like I listen to that sometimes and I'm just just like just rocking out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that game had really pretty music in general. I don't know. I've got a soft place for that game because I shoot, yeah, I bought it for on like PS3 and like years after it came out, which because my parents wouldn't let me get like M-rated games at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, well, what was your first M-rated game that you played?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mine
A
was
classic.
I think mine was Assassin's Creed. It was Assassin's Creed 2 and then the rest of the Assassin's Creed games. And no, that's not true. It was Call of Duty Black Ops, the first one.
Yeah. A classic.
And you see, I tried to pull a fast one on my parents because I knew my parents wouldn't get it for me, but I really wanted it because all my friends got it, and I played it at their houses, and it was really fun. And so I asked my aunt to get it for me, and she is like a cool aunt, where um, I thought maybe she'd let me have it because I was like 9. No, I must have been like, shoot, when did that game come out?
A long
I
time
remember playing
ago.
it in middle school, so I don't know, probably
That would
like
have been like 12 or 13.
yeah, 20, I don't know, like 2010, 2011, something like that. Um,
Yes. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I
and
actually I bought Modern Warfare 3 with my grandparents. So they didn't even know it. I was just like, "Hey, can I get this game?" They were like, "Yeah, sure." Yeah.
none the wiser. But yeah, so I tried to ask my aunt, and then my aunt said, "All right, oh, apparently my mom came. Or it was either my mom, or my aunt said, "Hey, so I talked with your mother, and I just want. I don't think this game is appropriate for you." I was like, "Mom, please, all my friends got it. It's really cool. It's really fun. I swear to God." And she was like, "Okay." So she let my aunt get it for me, and it had arrived in the mail while I was at a summer camp,
Mm-hmm.
and I, I knew based on when my aunt sent it, like around when it would show up, and it was in like the middle of the week while I was at this camp. And like the last like day or like the whole ride home, I was just like dying to get home so I could play that damn game. And it was the anticipation. Like I remember ripping off the cellophane and putting it in, and then being disappointed that I had to wait another 30 minutes to an hour for the
Right.
game data to the download. Yeah, you get so hyped for it.
I can't wait to play this game in 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly, dude. With Red Dead Redemption 2, it was like, well, I guess I got half a day carved out.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's yeah, you're right. I mean, the funny thing is like with the games now where you can just buy them on like the console store. It's like they're still
Right.
it still costs the same amount to buy them at at a GameStop. But why? Why does it cost the same amount? It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. I've got I think it's a 4 terabyte external hard drive for my PS4. So I can buy a bunch of like I can download a bunch of games from the store and have that stored on there.
But I mean, you don't have the the company isn't losing money to, or isn't having to pay like a factory to print the discs and then ship them out to the stores and all this stuff. It's like it's all that is skipped because it's just there. It's on your
It's
console.
just
So why am I
it's on
still
the
paying the
console.
same amount of money? It doesn't make any sense. So
Right.
anyway,
To have something that you could something physical that you could potentially lose.
yeah, I don't know. Grumpy old man yells at cloud, right?
Right.
Anyway, uh,
All right.
ready for the next
Did you
one?
want to move on? Yeah.
All right.
Fire me up.
All right. Mixed reactions as Will Smith and Jada reportedly start divorce proceedings.
Yeah. So, uh, I kind of saw this coming. I feel like,
Did you?
like, I mean, so Jada is the one who's has is like open in the relationship, and Will Smith doesn't really. I don't think he really has. Let's just say he doesn't have as much success as Jada does, and so I think he's been hurting like behind the scenes about that for a while, or maybe Jada feels like she's embarrassed that Will did this for her due to the aftermath because he got like kicked out of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is just look, if you guys want to be, if you want to have an open relationship, fine, as long as both parties are on board with it and consent, then sure, why not? Who cares? I don't
Yeah,
really
it's.
have an issue
I
with
mean,
that.
it seemed as though Will was more like almost was probably talked into it by her.
Could be,
Like
yeah,
he said, like he said he was okay with it, but in reality he wasn't like actually like super about it. He was just doing it to make his wife happy.
yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what's going on in their marriage, and I can't hope to even pretend that I do. I don't know. In case anyone who's watching this in the year like 3000, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage for making fun of Jada Smith, and and now they're getting divorced after he so publicly defended her honor, right?
Hmm.
And he
He white
lost.
knighted hard.
Yeah, harder than like almost anybody ever has. It seems, at least it's at the Oscars. Um, and it was over a joke, right? It was because Chris Rock was making fun of her, but at the same time, and I don't know how you feel, Blake, but I think that Will Smith is totally in the wrong on that. There's no reason to slap Chris Rock.
You see, I was on his side at first, and then I realized that it was a big blunder to do this in such a open public way. Like if he had done this like in private afterwards, I don't think this would have been so big. But it was in front of millions of people,
I,
and
okay.
then Chris Rock had to give him an award later on, and it was just really awkward.
Yeah, well, so I think he shouldn't have because I don't know. Watch anything on like Comedy Central, right? And they are absolutely brutal towards people, right? In making fun of people. And
Hmm.
so I'm sorry, I think that's just kind of the way it is. Like if you're a celebrity, you're going to be a target of, harsh jokes. I think that's kind of the way it is. And
Yeah.
I mean, watch any of the roasts. The roast of Justin
Oh
Bieber, the
yeah.
roast of Rob Lowe, or whoever, and the jokes are absolutely brutal.
Yeah, they're pretty savage, and also like Chris Rock is a comedian,
Yeah,
like so. I mean, if you agree to be in that audience, you better be prepared for him to possibly, whip out a joke on you.
right,
I mean, it's literally his job. It's literally why they're paying him to be there. They're
right,
like, be Chris Rock, be funny.
right. Yeah, and I think you're right. It's like, look, even if Will did have a problem with it, or Jada or whoever, right? You should have done it afterwards when you're not on camera, at the very
That's the,
least.
that's the thing though, because like I at first, whenever I heard about this, I was like, props to Will for standing up for his wife. Like that's kind of honorable. But then I looked into it a bit more, and it seemed like Will didn't even because Will was laughing at first, but
Right, he was.
Jada gave him this side eye look, like you're just gonna let him say that. And I think Will realized, oh, I'm going to have a big problem or a big fight with my wife about this later, or she's going to bitch and nag at me. Uh, unless I do something about this. So he didn't know what else to do but to, react with violence, which is obviously wrong. He shouldn't have done that.
He
So
woke
I
up
just
and
feel bad
chose
for Chris.
violence.
I just feel bad for Chris Rock because Will is a much larger man than him. So he felt something from that slap.
Yeah, there are some comedians who I think maybe should have gotten slapped earlier in their career, and maybe they would have stopped before they got
Yeah,
bigger audiences. Uh, I don't know. I've some of the specials on Netflix. I don't understand
Netflix.
how those people became comedians in the first place. Um,
You have to find like a niche market. A lot of the big comedians are like that. Like you have to, or like they have a acquired a niche. Like Jim Gaffigan, for example, he does clean humor, but he's still really funny somehow because he does this voice. And
I think I've seen his
uh,
stuff before.
yeah, yeah, Louis Anderson too. Louis Anderson had a really nasty voice like that. And he was this big fat guy with a funny haircut, and he's been doing comedy since like the '80s, and he passed away I think about a year ago or a couple months ago. It was really sad because I loved his stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I just that's how I feel. So sucks. You know,
yeah.
it sucks
I
that
mean,
anybody
I'm
goes through a divorce. So,
yeah, very tragic.
all right,
All
ready
right,
for the
you
next
want to
one?
move on to the next thing? Yes,
All right,
yes. You read my mind.
I tend to do
Pinch
that.
poke, you owe me a coke.
Our the next Doctor in Doctor Who. No, I'm, I will definitely mispronounce his name. So, I'll just
Oh yeah, no, I saw it earlier. It is a doozy. I don't know what nationality it is. It might be African, but yeah, it's like Connectugueha or something like that.
yeah. I don't. I'm not gonna try. So,
No, no, try. Go ahead, take a swing at it. Take a crack at it.
looks like Nkutsi Gatwa. That's what I'm gonna go for.
Uh,
That's my thought. My one single thought.
I wish I remembered enough about whenever I was in Doctor Who to try to make some type of joke. I mean,
I don't
um,
watch the show. I don't know anything about it other than
I
like
don't. He didn't.
they travel places. I guess.
I don't really remember it like any of his like catchphrases and stuff. And I was around for like three Doctors. Like, yeah, I watched it in like middle school. As I don't know, a lot of girls were watching it, and plus it seemed kind of cool. Like my dad grew up watching it whenever he was a little kid, so I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this. I mean, they're running. This is a very long running show, so maybe there's something to it. And I don't know. I rather liked it. But
Hmm.
yeah, I can't remember if he had any. I know he'd say Alonzi a lot.
Oh well, yeah. Alonzi. Hmm.
That what does that mean again? Like let's go.
Yeah, it's just let's go. Like vamonos. Same thing.
Ominous.
Yeah, it's just like
And
vamonos.
Italian, it's andiamo. It just means we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'm. I would. I'm sure he's gonna do fine. You know, as a doctor. I mean, it. They're just actors, right? For fictional characters, for God's sakes. I mean, literally anybody can play the role, right? They're fictional characters. And I'm sure there's a very calm, rational response to
Plus,
having a
I mean,
black actor play the Doctor on like Reddit.
I'm pretty sure even within the lore. Then again, I've only watched like maybe three seasons out of a show that already had I don't know at least a good six before that. That's been going on since the '60s. So I'm not too up to date on the Doctor Who lore, but I don't know if it ever specifies that the species that the Doctor is, whatever planet he came from, whatever it was called, I forgot.
Hmm.
They never specified that they were all of the same skin color too. So whenever he is like essentially reincarnated, I mean, this type of thing, it actually kind of makes sense that it could happen.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And I don't know. I think it's funny that the the liberal snowflakes, right? The conservatives make fun of them for being snowflakes, and then a company's just like, oh yeah, just for diversity's sake, we're gonna have a black doctor or a female doctor or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then it's the conservatives who become the snowflakes, like, oh my god, they're destroying the lore.
I
Oh,
gotta agree. I gotta agree. I think they've taken it a step too far with a couple things. Like like at first I was like, yeah, who cares if they're black actors, and then they started getting involved with stuff that was very close to home with me, like like Star Wars and then Lord of the Rings. And I'm just like, okay, y'all, this is getting
I
ridiculous
don't.
now.
I don't
You
think.
don't need to force diversity like
I
this.
don't think any part of the problem with the new movies was the diversity. I think all the actors were fine. Their
Yeah,
parts
no,
sucked. The script was terrible. All three of the scripts were terrible. The only thing I
Yeah.
liked was Luke's performance. That was like the thing that made, I think of the three of them, the second one, the Last Jedi, was the best, simply because of Luke's performance. It was amazing.
Right.
But like, John Boyega is a good actor. Daisy Ridley is a good actor. Um, Oscar Isaac, they're all great actors. They got handed bad scripts, and I think they did the best they could with the script they had, and it just sucked.
Yeah, that's
Um,
very true.
like John Boyega's Finn, his whole thing is he's a character. You know, he was a stormtrooper, so the group that's like the bad guys, and then he becomes disillusioned with their mission and decides to run away, and ultimately, gets connected up with the new incarnation of the rebels and helps save the day. Right? Well, they never explored that again in either of the other two movies. Like, here's a character
Yeah.
who um who has the background to be like, hey, my fellow stormtroopers, we should, you know, unionize in a sense and fight back against the others. And and the funny thing is, they actually sort of did that in the Bad Batch, right? Um, you had clones turning against other clones because they were like, I don't think what we're doing is right. How did they
Yeah,
do
true,
that
true.
better in, a cartoon, right, than they did in a live action movie? Like, what on earth?
Yeah.
Um, I really just did not like. The only one of the new movies that was any good was Rogue One. Solo was
Very
okay.
true.
It was fine. It was all right. It was a popcorn flick, but it wasn't that good. But Rogue One was fantastic. I don't know how they did it, but it was fantastic.
It was very good. It was a very good in between for the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope.
Yes.
Anyway, I just wanted to say I like John Boyega. He's cool. He listens to Death Grips. Shout out to Death Grips. I love them. Um, uh, and yeah, Luke was definitely a big part of the new movies, and I just liked getting to see him on screen again, and as well as Harrison Ford, even though you know damn well he did not want to be there.
Right.
And you know,
How much money did
yeah,
they have to pay him to make him show back up? Yeah.
yeah,
What there was something where they were like some interviewer was asking Harrison Ford about something. They were like, "What's a force ghost?" or something like that, and he's like, "I have no idea, and I don't care." uh, yeah.
and Carrie Fisher too, who that was a big monkey wrench in the filming of those movies. Her just dying in the middle of it.
Well, honestly, in my opinion, I think they should have kind of written her out in the second one,
Right.
but they didn't, and then they kind of had to do it like just on the side in the third one. Um, eh, but whatever. Like I said, they weren't that good. Um, episode 7 was just episode 4 again. Episodes 8 and 9 were at least original, but didn't really care for them.
Yeah.
Um, a much better movie with Daisy Ridley is Murder on the Orient Express. So go see that
Hmm.
if you haven't. Um,
Interesting.
yeah.
And we'll definitely have to do one, if not probably multiple episodes about Star Wars stuff because that was a big part of both of our childhoods. So we can talk about it for ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to move to the next
Oh
one?
yeah.
Or
Oh, hold on. I
okay.
just want to say again, there's just talks of making the next James Bond black too.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see like Idris Elba playing that role, or
Yes, yes. And honestly, I'm here for it because like I'd love to see what a black James Bond is like. It's uh, oh nice.
Ted Cruz said January 6th wasn't a violent insurrection. Now he labels peaceful pro-choice protesters mob violence.
Yeah, just your standard hypocrisy. I mean, uh, yeah, freaking. The thing about the January 6th thing that gets to me is that if that was BLM protesters there, they would have gunned them down. It would have been a bloodbath.
Which
But
when that
I
oh
haven't
sorry.
heard of any violence happening at these pro-choice protests though.
Yeah, I mean, not to say it doesn't happen somewhere, which every time someone says, like, I haven't heard about this, someone has an article. I mean, maybe there is somewhere, but yeah, most of these, it seems to be non-violent. Um, the thing was, and you're right, when BLM was protesting outside the Capitol, the military was out in full fatigues on in like the White House steps, right?
Hmm.
And then the BLM protesters actually got bum rushed by the police and tear gassed just so Trump could hold up a Bible upside down for a photo shoot.
Oh, that's true.
Um, Meanwhile, a bunch of rednecks uh, literally walked into the Capitol building and walked around. Um, and Trump let it happen, right? They just let it happen. The police at one point, they're on video like pulling the fences away so that the people can walk in. And some of those guys had zip ties. There were pipe bombs found
Yep.
in the Capitol building. Some of them had guns, or a number of them had guns. And the idea that that wasn't violent is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, there was there. Didn't they erect like a guillotine and like crosses and stuff too?
I wouldn't be surprised. Um, that wouldn't surprise me. That's typical KKK action right there.
Yep.
Which I mean,
Funny how that works out.
the guy, and I don't remember his name. The guy who had like the antlers, who wore the shaman
Oh,
dude or
oh
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's in prison right now. He's gonna be in prison for quite some time for that.
Right. He was on some kind of like all natural lifestyle thing, which
Yeah,
was also like a Nazi thing. Um, and so big surprise, right?
yeah,
But anyways, and yeah, there was another guy who got arrested for like stealing mail from one of the senators.
yeah.
Um, One woman got shot because they were like trying to break into, I think the room where they vote, where the like senators would vote, and yeah, just absolutely crazy. But yeah, of course, the peaceful ones, those are the people who are violent, right? They're just
Right,
a mob. Meanwhile, the senator or the SCOTUS justices, they just want privacy in this difficult time right now. So,
right. Mm.
I mean, Ted Cruz is just a tool. Let's be real. There's nothing really to say
Yeah,
about him.
I'm glad he grew out the beard though, because he doesn't look as awful as he used to. And uh, whenever he was baby faced, like he looked like a how did I used to describe it? It was really funny. It was like like a wax replica of a goblin that just smelled a fart. Like he, he just looks like he's melting.
He looks like he's melting. Yeah. Yeah. He's a terrible person. So, for a lot of reasons, I still think one of the funniest clips I ever saw was, like when Trump insulted his wife during like the Republican primaries, and like then they like juxtapose it with Ted Cruz answering the phone at like the Trump the fundraising rally or whatever. So
Hmm.
got cucked by Trump. So I mean they all kind of did. All the Republicans kind of did, which is
Yeah,
interesting. Um, but yeah, no, he's terrible. He's a terrible guy. I don't have
yeah.
anything kind to say about him.
Neither do I. I don't like him. He's got a lot of bad takes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is it.
Yep,
I
we
think.
are just over an hour. So,
All right.
um,
Well,
anything you want to say to play us out?
um, I don't know. If you did actually take the time to give this a listen, thank you. Um, we're gonna try to make this a weekly thing, maybe potentially bi-weekly, but we'll just see how things go out. And hope you all have a good day. Later.
All right, and I am stopping the broadcast.